korohe dase kripa yakihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase Trinapeka Atihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Korohe Dase Trinapeka Atihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase Trinapeka Atihina.
Sakala sahane bolodia koro nijamane sprihahina.
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 Sakale saman korite shakati Akruranatha jata jata.
Sakale saman korite shakati dehonatha jata jata.
Sakale saman korite shakati dehonatha jata jata.
Sakale saman korite shakati dehonatha jata jata.
Tabito gaibo hari nama sukhe aparadha habe hata.
Tabbeto gaibo harinama sukhe aparadha habe hata.
Tabe no kripa lobhiya jan kritartha hoibe nata.
Tabbe no kripa lobhaya jana kritartha hoibe natha.
Kabe no kripa lobhiya jan kritartha hoibe nata.
Kabbe no kripa lobhiya jana kritartha hoibe natha.
Shakti buddhihin ami atihin koromode atmasada.
Shakti buddhihi nami attiti koromore atmasata.
Shakti buddhihin ami atihin koromode atmasada.
Shakti buddhihi nami attiti koromore atmasata.
Yogyata puchare kichu nahi pai tomada karunata.
Yogyata vichare kichu nahi pai tomara karunachara.
Yogyata vichare kichu nahi pai tomara karunata.
Yogyata vichare kichu nahi pai tomara karunachara.
Karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana na prakiboara.
Karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana na rakhibo aro.
Karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana na rakiboara.
Karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana na rakhibo aro.
Bindu diya korohe dase trinapeka atihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Dase Trinapeka Atihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu diya korohe dase trinapeka atihina.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Dase Trinapeka Atihina. Gurudeva, by a drop of your mercy, make this servant of yours humbler than a blade of grass, giving me strength to bear all trials and troubles, make me devoid of all desires for personal honor. O Lord and Master, please give me the power to properly honor all living beings. Only then will I sing the holy name in great ecstasy and all my offenses cease. O Lord and Master, when will this devotee, obtaining your mercy, become blessed? Devoid of all strength and intelligence, I am very low and fallen. Please make me your own servant. Upon examining my value, I find that I have none. Your mercy is essential to me. Therefore, if you are not merciful, I will constantly weep, and I will not maintain my life any longer. Srila Prabhupada mentioned on the one occasion of the passing of the celebration of the disappearance of his Gurudev that he felt like there was no reason to remain in this world without his spiritual master, but that he had gotten instruction to write books and preach in English language. So this was his reason for continuing, was to carry out the mission of his spiritual master. And as always, Srila Prabhupada is giving us an example of how a disciple should feel, that most of us, conditioned souls, we think there are so many nice things to do and taste and enjoy and see and hear and smell in this material world. But a pure devotee doesn't think like that. A pure devotee is only interested in service, in pleasing his or her spiritual master. And so in this song we see this instruction, Trinadapi Sunichena Turoriva Sahishnuna, that we beg to become humbler than the grass, to properly give all respect to others, and then we can chant the holy name constantly. Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. We shouldn't have any sense of that we have some good quality and that we want to be recognized by others for that. This is typical of materialistic persons. They always want to be, because we're here in the material world due to envy of Krishna, and we're trying to assert ourselves as imitation Krishnas in this material atmosphere. Even though we're being defeated at every moment, we're trying to be in charge of material nature, even though material nature is much stronger than us. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advises us that if we surrender to him, then we can cross beyond material nature. Otherwise, it's impossible. So we have to learn to become aware of this position. And the songs of our acharyas show us how a pure devotee feels insignificant and completely dependent. These are true signs of actual surrender to Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Six forms of surrender. Right.
Do you remember them all?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur enunciated 6 forms. First is to accept everything favorable to the discharge of devotional service, to reject everything unfavorable. So accept favorable, reject the unfavorable, to accept the Lord as one's maintainer, the supreme maintainer, to accept the Lord as one's protector. He is our protector. To accept oneself as insignificant, jiva, soul, servant of Godhead. And the 6th is to give all one's life, soul, body, mind, intelligence, everything to the Lord. Surrender completely to the Lord. So those are the 6 aspects or symptoms of one who has fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord.
Shall we sing the song to the departed Vaishnava?
Oh, yes.
I can sing. Will you play accompany on the drum? Jayanilil Premadhana from Narottam Das Thakur. Jaya Nilo Prema Dhanna Karuna Prachur
Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur
Jaya Nilo Prema Dhanna Karuna Prachur
Jaya Nilo
Deno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Deno Prabhu Kotha Gela Deno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Deno Prabhu Kotha Gela Kahamura Swarupa
He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy Where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities?
Being
Unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps.
So I was reading an offering, or not an offering, but an article from Radhanath Swami today on dandavats.com for Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. And he mentioned that, I don't know if this was in his article or another article, but he mentioned that the appearance and disappearance of a pure devotee is the same. It's not, in one sense, because the devotee is transcendental. It's just like the sunrise and the sunset. They're both beautiful. And the devotee is eternal, and they appear before our vision and then they disappear from our vision. But he said that even though they're the same, that the appearance day is festival of joy, and the disappearance day, he said, is festival of tears. So it's the mood of separation permeates the disappearance day of the spiritual master. But the overwhelming instruction is that, as the saying goes, he lives forever by his, what is it? He lives forever by his divine...
the follower lives...
And the follower lives with him.
Yeah, he lives forever by his divine instructions.
By his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. So that we're not really separated from Srila Prabhupada and the acharyas, except to the extent that we think we have something else to do but follow their instructions. That's actually an offense to the spiritual masters, to not obey the spiritual master's instructions, or to disregard them, or to think of the spiritual master as an ordinary person. That the spiritual masters keep alive Krishna consciousness in this world. And so I was thinking today that because we associate with Srila Prabhupada through his mission, through his instructions and his requests for us to serve him, devotional service is active. It's not. Srila Prabhupada explains the Sanskrit root bhaj for bhakti is not simply adoring. You know, yogis may meditate on the supersoul in the heart, but devotees engage their selves in service, in active service. And bhakti implies active service. So our closeness to Srila Prabhupada can be kept and felt and by following his instructions. And of course his instructions are for us to chant at least 16 rounds without offense, to follow the 4 regulative principles, to study his books, and also to distribute his books, worship the deities. So many instructions are there, so much of his mission is there. He engaged us in opening temples, and he had an overall vision to bring pure devotional service to the world. If we read whatever they are, the incorporation, the purposes, the 7 purposes of ISKCON, there are various purposes. But the overwhelming purpose is to bring people to Krishna consciousness, to understand the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and to really transform the world around us by spreading those teachings to others on his order. That's his mercy, that he gives us an order and we try to follow it. That was Giriraj Maharaj was talking about Srila Prabhupada's mercy today on Dandavat. I was reading that too. And he said, not just that he gave us his order. Giriraj Maharaj thought Prabhupada was going to say, my mercy is I give you an order and you follow it. But then Srila Prabhupada said, my mercy is I give you an order and you try to follow it. So he was saying that Srila Prabhupada was so merciful that he understood that our sincere endeavor was good enough, that it will eventually ripen into following correctly.
Well, along those lines of what you just said, recently a godbrother of ours passed away, Pita Das, in Alachua. And he told a story. He was on the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan, distributing books and all. And they had the opportunity by the arrangement of Tamal Krishna Goswami, who was organizing the Radha Damodar party, to meet Srila Prabhupada personally. And which was, in those days at that time, it was a little rare to be able to meet Prabhupada personally. In the beginning of the movement, it was quite different. So everyone got Prabhupada's association. They could meet him, talk with him, sit with him. But as time progressed and more devotees came, the movement grew, Prabhupada traveled, less opportunity was there to meet him and personally associate, which is another topic, Vani and Vapu. But in this story, in this case, Tamal Krishna Maharaj arranged so that all of the book distributors on the Radha Damodar party got a chance to personally meet Prabhupada. And they were brought into his room one at a time to meet him individually. And he was, Pita Das was very, obviously very nervous. And if I remember correctly his words, but in front of Prabhupada, he was expecting that Prabhupada would be asking him to do so much and expecting so much of him. How many books did you distribute? What did you do? Did you do this and that? And all Prabhupada said to him was, do your level best. Do your level best. And that's what was important to Prabhupada, that we try our hardest to fulfill his order, whatever it may be, if we're in the kitchen cooking or distributing books or preaching or whatever it might be. We do our level best to serve him and please him from the heart, not for some recognition or some prestige or pratishta or some position. We do it to please the spiritual master. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagati kutopi. By pleasing the spiritual master, one gets the blessings, the mercy of Krishna. I just heard also listening to some memories, and who was it that said this? Yes, he was actually Prabhupada. I was listening to Prabhupada. Yes, he was saying that first you please the spiritual master. Don't try to understand Krishna first. First, please the spiritual master, serve the spiritual master. Of course, and now we're observing Prabhupada's disappearance. He's not here, but most of you are not his disciples directly anyway, but still you're connected to Prabhupada. So don't try to just understand Krishna independently. First, please the spiritual master, then try to understand Krishna. It's not that we're not trying to understand Krishna. We're just the guru all the time. It's a two-way road, guru and Krishna. Yasya, what is it? Yasya deve para bhaktir tatha deve tatha guru tasyaite hyatita karta prakashante mahatmanaha. One who has implicit faith in both the Guru and in Krishna simultaneously. Then all the imports of the Vedas are revealed. Everything is revealed. And that doesn't necessarily mean zapped, they're just like zapped. Prabhupada always used to say, criticize the gurus. People used to go to gurus expecting to get zapped with some kind of bliss. No, it's when you get blessed by the guru, then when you pick up the Bhagavatam and you read the Bhagavatam, then Krishna becomes revealed to you in the Bhagavatam. Or in your heart also, that's also Paramatma is there. But Krishna will reveal himself to you by those means. It's not this some kind of zapping process.
It's by pleasing the spiritual master, then the spiritual master actually, gets Krishna's mercy to you. It's when you said the zapping process, Srila Prabhupada sometimes talked about one very famous personality from the early 20th century who said that he gave all his disciple got all this bhav or whatever, this energy, shakti, and then the guru felt exhausted that he had given it all up to him. So then Prabhupada was saying, this is just a farce, this is not what happens. It's this. The spiritual master is in touch, having pleased his spiritual master, and the spiritual master then can reveal Krishna to you because he's seeing Krishna and he reveals it to a sincere soul whose heart is prepared through humility, service, sincere inquiry to accept it. But it's a matter of preparing the heart. I was telling Jagarini on the car down here that one day I was in the gym on a treadmill and there was someone standing next to me and I started talking to him about Krishna consciousness. And then he said, "But it sounds like a head thing, not a heart thing." And I said, "No, that's my imperfection, that it's really a heart thing. It's not a head thing. It's not a matter of philosophical speculation, or it's about changing our heart to become humble and to fall in love. And we love the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna in that sense. We love the spiritual master, and the spiritual master reveals how to love Krishna also. So I was thinking about the mission of Srila Prabhupada, and I wanted to pass the microphone around and hear some realizations, especially we have some disciples of Srila Prabhupada also sitting in the audience. I know that it's easy to, in this temple, we know that by pleasing Vaisheshika, it's easy to do that by distributing books, by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And Srila Prabhupada definitely repeated to us over and over again that we could please him by distributing his books. And this was, a very clear instruction of Srila Prabhupada. It was his guru had asked him to write books, and it said it would be good for him and it would be good for those who read him, who heard him, read the books. So I see Jagarini has a microphone, so she's passing it to Kanka. But just please talk about your understanding of Srila Prabhupada's mission, or whatever else you want to talk about, because I see you have brought some notes.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhus, for nice talks and nice singing. What I brought with me was Tamal Krishna's final pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, which is a drama that he prepared all about the emotional ups and downs that the devotees experienced when they were with Srila Prabhupada in those last days. Like Akruranatha Prabhu was telling, that it's very emotional, the Disappearance Day. It can bring up a lot of sadness, and it could bring up a lot of separation, feelings of separation. And I just wanted to read just a couple of things from this wonderful drama that they established. This is part of the foreword, and it talks about religions of the world tell of persons in whom features of an ultimate being are manifested. The priest, the saint, the incarnation, the Christ, the guru, the avatar, the lama, the Buddha, etc., are different channels through which aspects of the divinity make themselves known to humans in different cultures. In the Vaishnava tradition, one essential way in which the divinity manifests itself is in the guru. It is through the guru that one attains connection to the Supreme. It is also in him that we find certain divine attributes manifested directly from the Supreme. The appearance of the guru in one's life is considered most fortunate because it constitutes the presence of the Supreme and access to the Supreme. So I'm always thinking how fortunate I was to be able to meet Srila Prabhupada in 1970 and to be able to take initiation and serve him and join this wonderful worldwide family of Vaishnavas. I don't know. I would never know who Krishna is. I would never know who Radharani is. I would never know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so many great devotees in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I feel so incredibly blessed. And to be there in Vrindavan 3 days after Prabhupada passed, my family and I had gone there. We were actually on our way there to try to be with Srila Prabhupada while he was passing. We knew he was passing. We had been having 24-hour kirtans in Los Angeles at the time. But unfortunately, he passed 3 days before our arrival in Vrindavan. But it was also incredibly amazing to be there with all the devotees and hear about how it was to be with Prabhupada in those few weeks before his departure, and how emotional and how blessed the devotees felt. Upendra was so kind. He gave us each parts of Prabhupada's dhoti when they carried Srila Prabhupada around, his body around Vrindavan after he passed. And then he gave us flowers from his garlands. He gave us some sand from the samadhi when they lowered Srila Prabhupada into the samadhi. And out of my good fortune, somehow or other, Bhavananda asked me to, Varnasi and I, to please cook the Mahotsava feast. Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers were coming for the Mahotsava ceremony, which was 8 days after the passing. And we had never cooked in India before, and it was really a challenge because we were cooking on little buckets of coal, and there were no counters to cut on. It was very challenging. But Srila Prabhupada's sister, Pishima, came in, and everywhere she went, she had a bottle of Ganges water, and she would sprinkle everyone with Ganges water. And she sat down. We were struggling for a couple days to get 108 preparations done. She sat down in the kitchen and cooked 40 preparations in 2 hours. And she looked exactly like Srila Prabhupada. It was so hard to be around her because every time I saw her or I was near her, I would just start crying because she could have been his twin. It was amazing, and she was the same size as him. She looked so much like him. But there were so many stories at the time, and one of the things I wanted to share that I remember very clearly is that at the last moments when Srila Prabhupada was departing, the devotees were singing a kirtan, and they all said this. They said that it seemed as though the demigods were present because the kirtan was so extraordinary. It was so transcendental. And it felt like there was no roof or ceiling on the building, that it was just in a different place as Srila Prabhupada was departing. And of course, when he was early days, when he was sick, and he looked at the devotees and he said, "Don't think this won't happen to you." Because at the time we were all so young. 1977, I was 27 years old. So it wasn't easy to think of, oh yeah, someday I'm going to get sick and old and I'm going to die. But now, as we're approaching our later years, we can see how amazing Srila Prabhupada was, how he could sit for hours on the Vyasasana. He could run this Hare Krishna movement. He could get up and down after dandavats without even flinching. And he had so much energy that the young devotees couldn't even keep up with him when he was walking. And yes, now we have so many of our God brothers and God sisters who are departing from this world. And we are seeing that by His mercy, we can gain this strength and knowledge and understanding of the importance of taking shelter of the holy name and constantly taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's instructions, following the four regulative principles. So, so important. And I'm going to end here, but I just want you to know that I feel personally very extremely blessed to be sitting here at this temple with all of you.
And we feel blessed sitting with you.
And to be with Srila Prabhupada. One time he said, a devotee asked him, how did we get this special mercy? Like what did we do to deserve this? And Prabhupada said, you didn't do anything. I gave you this opportunity. So it's definitely a major blessing. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jagarini?
It's a difficult day to speak for us. You get a little choked up. I don't even think I realized how sad I would feel. I feel like it increases as time goes on. Do you feel like that? I was 24 years old when Srila Prabhupada passed. I was in the middle of raising 3 kids, and so much was going on in my life. And I don't think I stopped to grieve. Actually, the movement didn't really stop to grieve at that time so much, And as we get older and things are slowing down, we can understand the import of these occurrences more than we did at the time when we were young and kind of foolish, actually. But what Srila Prabhupada did for us is kind of inconceivable. He planted seeds in the West that nobody else could do. Others tried, many tried before him, and maybe made a little progress, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta knew that Prabhupada would be able to do it. And to have, at an older age, how many of us could say that we could get on a boat, right? Not a ocean liner, not a cruise ship, but a cargo ship, right? And cross the ocean and have heart attack. on that boat and keep going. How many of us would be able to do that? You know, we would all think, I better go get well. Even if you wanted to do it in the future, oh, maybe later, I can't do this now, I'm having a heart attack, I'm going to die. He kept going, Prabhupada kept going. And nothing stopped him. Nothing stopped him, and he did it for us. He did it not just for his disciples, he did it for all of you, and he did it for the rest of mankind. He did it for the yuga, you know. He's the acharya of our age, and so how do we thank him? That's what we're left with, right? We're left with what can we do now, right, as devotees to help him to continue the movement, as Akruranatha asked, his mission. And I think that this process is so magical that that super soul in our heart has been waiting so long for us to turn towards him that just by trying, as Kanka said and Akruranatha said, just by the endeavor, Krishna blesses us with more taste, you know? And the more taste we get for serving, the less we want to do worldly things. It just falls away. We're not interested anymore. It happens naturally. So if we make those steps, Prabhupada told us, right? If you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. So I think that to reciprocate to Srila Prabhupada for what he gave us, which if we could see how many lifetimes we've been here, if we could see what our future would be without him coming here, there's nobody in our world, in our life ever that did as much for us as Srila Prabhupada. So to reciprocate, I would say, just try. And it starts with our rounds, with our japa. It really does. I remember when I first got initiated. Now, back in those days, everybody was working so hard to start a movement. You know, it was just like all day long, start a movement. We were in the army, basically. And all day long, you were working on some way to make this movement take hold in the West. And there really wasn't any emphasis, not much. Well, first of all, Prabhupada's books weren't even there really yet for us to have emphasis to read his books. That was slowly happening. But you didn't hear much about japa back then. You know, 16 rounds. And we'd hear all kinds of interesting ways of people chanting, shnik, 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 mama, mama, shnik, 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 mama, mama, you know. I mean, it was endless, the different interpretations of 16 rounds. But there wasn't, everybody was busy, everybody was working hard. There wasn't this emphasis. So when I went to Srila Prabhupada's, it was for second initiation, actually. I got to go into his room. And he gave me personally Gayatri Mantra. I remember I was very afraid. I don't know if afraid's the right word, but nervous, right? I was 20 years old, 20, I think just 20 years old, yeah. And he said to me, so, you are chanting 16 rounds. That's all he said. And I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. And that, I mean, he could have asked me, what service do you do? You know, so many things. But he was concerned about that. And everything comes from that. That's where it starts. So if we want to show Srila Prabhupada our appreciation for what he's given us, I think it starts with that. It starts with our rounds. And another thing that I would personally request all the devotees, because I see it happening a little and it kind of scares me, don't make stuff up. Don't make stuff up. Prabhupada gave us what we need to know. The mode of passion is a mode of creation and annihilation. We always want to be creative. We always want to do the next thing. And actually, that's in Sankirtan, that can be a very useful way of thinking. But when it comes to the temple, or it comes to the deities, when it comes to our sadhana, like I've heard that some of the younger generations say, well, why japa? We should just do kirtan. You know, that's something I've heard going around. I've seen on the internet people putting teeth on Dhriti's paintings of Krishna. When Krishna's smiling, they added teeth, and they think that makes it look better. I've seen Radharani with false eyelashes, or other silly things. So I would beg you all, as we're getting older and we're going to leave, not, every day there's one God brother leaving, God sister leaving, every day. And when Prabhupada says death can come at any time and you're in your 20s and 30s, you think, yeah, but when you're our age, it's real. You can go to sleep and not wake up, and it wouldn't be weird. It wouldn't be, we had a full life, right? So when none of the senior devotees are around anymore, and it's up to all of you to continue Prabhupada's movement, I think that you're all doing a wonderful job with book distribution, with so many things, your enthusiasm, your creativity. But just, I beg you, don't make stuff up. And if you see things like that, try to stop them. It can make things go in a wrong direction. And that's a little scary for a lot of us to see, Prabhupada was real particular. If you talk to Dhriti, he spent hours with those artists telling them exactly what to do. Exactly. He wanted certain colors, the way the devotees looked. Radharani was shy. She should never have anything tight wrapped around her torso or anything like that. These things are, Prabhupada was clear about. So anyway, that would be my request. And I want to thank you all very, very much for all your hard work and endeavor and for being here.
Hare Krishna. We have about 10 more minutes, and I want to know, is there any other person who directly took initiation from Srila Prabhupada here in the room that I didn't, because I don't know everybody, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. But then if anyone else has some reflections, short, because we have 10 minutes and we want a chance for everyone, if they have some realization or something they want to share, please raise your hand. Yes, microphone, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
It was really very amazing to see Srila Prabhupada's confidence when he incorporated ISKCON. At that time, all the people who just signed the memorandum, they were just favorable to Krishna consciousness and nothing more than that. But Prabhupada had amazing confidence at that time. And even when he was speaking with that person in the park on the bench, and he told him that, I have so many temples and so many followers, and it is just time that is separating me. So it was very inspiring to see Srila Prabhupada's faith in the order of his spiritual master, and his confidence and his determination to establish Krishna consciousness. So it was very inspiring.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada always exuded this confidence that this move, we were just I mean, he started at 26 Second Avenue. There was a handful of hippies. But he knew this was going to be a very important movement in the world, and he always impressed that confidence on all of his followers. And when you were talking about how he was 70 years old, it reminded me, Keshav Bharati Swami told me a story that they were, I think it may have had to do with, they were in some legal litigation. I think it was about the Bhaktivedanta Manor or something, because there was an English law lord, and they were presenting a case to him, and he looked at Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam and all his books and everything, and the old judge turned to all the young disciples and said, you have no idea what it takes to do all this after you're 70 years old. You know, that this is really amazing, Srila Prabhupada's output. Anybody could see it. In fact, they had some, I forget what magazine it was, Time or something like that. They had an article on late bloomers, people who did something later in life, and they featured Srila Prabhupada in that article as well. Someone else? Navina Nerida? No? Jess, please.
So one point that I was thinking, Prabhupada was doing the greatest welfare activity for the soul, not even for the body. But it's not that it was so easy for him, right? Because sometimes when we come to the temple or we go anywhere, we think that like everything should be like this or should be like that. We feel entitled, or we think that if I take to Krishna consciousness, all my obstacles in life would go away and I'll be happy. But Prabhupada himself faced so much trouble at physical level, emotional level, and at all levels, financial level, but still he came out victorious. And he wanted to give to people. And at the end, when he was in the deathbed, it's not that he sat in a samadhi and then his life went off like that. But he showed us how death is so painful also. So sometimes we think that I want an easy death. But if we see and analyze Prabhupada's life, we can understand that nothing is going to be easy. But we should just keep praying and try our best to serve others, because that's the pleasure, the real pleasure that we can give to Srila Prabhupada and all his disciples also. So, thank you.
Yes, we can see how much he exemplified this. You know, Krishna tells Arjuna that be steady in success or failure, and happiness and distress, and fame and infamy, and, you know, just serve. Do your service bhakti yoga. And Srila Prabhupada perfectly exemplified that, and he had a very personal heart, and one of our godbrothers said, Srila Prabhupada didn't love to manage us, he managed to love us. But that he really cared about his disciples, and when he heard that some disciple had been in a car accident or something like that, he cried. It was a personal relationship. He just wasn't using people, he was serving them. And he was seeing them, he said in another, I think, Bhaktisiddhanta's Disappearance Day lectures, I think it was Disappearance Day, but he said that he sees that Bhaktisiddhanta was sending all of us to help him in his mission. He saw us as that kind of manifestation. So Nanda, in LA, you were there, huh? She said that she was there at the class in Los Angeles when Srila Prabhupada gave that lecture, and how he cried a lot at the end of the class, and when he said that Bhaktisiddhanta had sent us. So Nanda Prabhu, do you have any closing remarks?
I had something I wanted to read from the Bhagavatam. It's just part of a purport. 6th canto. This is less than 5 minutes.
It's all right. You can go a little extra.
Oh, good. We'll see if it takes us further. This is Canto 6, Chapter 16, text number 6. I'll read the verse and then the section of the purport, because it kind of encapsulates everything that has been said about Prabhupada and serving him and the opportunity that he's given to all of us and to all of humanity and the world in general. And so I thought this would be nice to read. One moment. Yatha vastuni panyani hemadini tatastataha pariyatanti nareshvenang jivo yonishu kartrishu. Just as gold and other commodities are continually transferred from one place to another in due course of purchase and sale, so the living entity, as a result of his fruitive activities, wanders throughout the entire universe, being injected into various bodies in different species of life. Oh, you got it up there. Wow. By one kind of father after another. So if you go to the purport, I'm going to read, starting with the paragraph beginning, the same living entity sometimes takes shelter of an animal father and mother, and sometimes a human father and mother. By the way, let me just interject for a moment. This is the story of King Chitraketu. And to make the long story short, he's being instructed by Narada Muni in spiritual life. And so one of the first principles is you're not this material body, you're traveling, transmigrating through so many different species, one after the other. But the point I'm going to make is a little different. It's coming. Sometimes he accepts a father and mother among the birds, and sometimes he accepts a demigod father and mother. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Ajiv Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Now here's the point that I wanted to make. Harassed life after life by the laws of nature, the living entity wanders throughout the entire universe in different planets and different species of life. Somehow or other, if he is fortunate enough, he comes in touch with a devotee who reforms his entire life. Then the living entity goes back home, back to Godhead. Therefore it is said, Janame janame sabe pita matapai, Krishna Guru nahi mile bhaja hariye. In the transmigration of the soul through different bodies, everyone in every form of life, be it human, animal, tree, or demigod, gets a father and mother. This is not very difficult. The difficulty is to obtain a bona fide spiritual master and Krishna. Therefore, the duty of a human being, and take note of these words now that Prabhupada uses, is to capture the opportunity to come in touch with Krishna's representative, the bona fide spiritual master. Let me read that again. Therefore, the duty of a human being is to capture the opportunity to come in touch with Krishna's representative, the bona fide spiritual master. Under the guidance of the spiritual master, the spiritual father, one can return home back to Godhead.
Jai Srila
Jai Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai.
So now let's put the seats away and we'll have Pushpanjali and Kirtan, and then I believe Damodar Ashtakam comes after that.
So don't forget, that opportunity is still there.
Jai. Yeah, Prabhupada
be
is
there.
present in his books, and there are many disciples of Prabhupada that have dedicated their life to his mission, and by serving them we can stay in touch with the spiritual circuit. But the kirtan starts first? Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay. First, 4:50 to 4:50. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, are you singing?
Yeah. To the right. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Everyone, please take some flower petals. Don't use them up all at one time because you have to throw flowers 3 times. Do you want to see after, you know, when okay. Did Kanka can offer the puja? Srila Prabhupada when they're having the kirtan? She can do the puja. She can offer
Yeah,
the.
that's what I requested.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Guru Puja time.
Yeah. So please, everyone, repeat after me, and then when I say svaha, we throw some flower petals. Waiting for the Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitang Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Next. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitang Yena Bhutale Swayang Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatang Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutang Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Rupanuga Virudha Apasiddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambhode Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Bhumestvang Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhaumaha Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Bancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanang pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatarang Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatang Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padam Bhojao Radha Madana Mohanao Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnakara Singhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devao Krishtali Bhiksevyamanao Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vangshi Vatatatastitaha Harshan Venus Vanair Gopir Gopinatha Shriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Pushpanjali Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Pushpanjali
Maharaj, no harmony for this Kirtan, okay? I like the pure Samsara Davana Lalita Loka Dranaya Karuna Ganaganatam Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Mahaprabhu Kirtanamrita Varikramajan Manasodasena. Romanchakamba Shrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Sri Vigrahara Sringaraton Mandiramajanado. Yutasya bhaktam chanirunjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavad Prasada Swadvanatrutam Hari Bhakta Sangam. Ritvaiva Triptim Bhajado Sadaiva Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Sri Radhika Madhavayoravara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam. Radhikshana Swaranalorupasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Jaya Liru Shirabeshaniya. Dhatrati Daksha Jati Valavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Sakshadharitvena samasta shastrayena uktastata bhavyataiva sadabhi. Hindu Prabhurya prasadaat bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagati kutopi. Jayam Shivam Sasya Yashasri Sandham Vande Guru Sri Sharanada Vindam. Jayam Shivam Sasya Yashasri Sandham Vande Guru Sri Sharanada Vindam. 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Prabhupada ki jai. Doing praying Badwani? Jai Om Vishnu. Okay, Arti.
Hare Krishna, please sit down. Next we will be singing Damodarastakam.
Hare Krishna. Namami Shvaram Sachi Anandarupam Lasya Kundalam Gokuli Rajamanam Danta Muni Krayuma Mridanta मुझे तो बाकी राजो विकल्पा कथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वकामी प्रयता नमो श्री नमो दामोदरेवा Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय श्री दामोदर अष्टकम की जय, जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि ओम।
ki jai. Prabhupada ki. Krishna. Hare Krishna. We welcome you all to ISKCON of Silicon Valley on this very auspicious occasion of Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. Firstly, we'd like to thank the very illustrious disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Akruranatha Prabhu, His Grace Akruranatha Prabhu, His Grace Sananda Prabhu, Her Grace Jagrini Mataji, and Her Grace Kanka Mataji for leading the glorification of Srila Prabhupada today. Haribol. We'd also like to thank Her Grace Ananya Radhika Mataji for the wonderful Dhammadrashtakam prayers and the Nishingadev prayers by Dhriti. Before we proceed with the sponsorship announcements, Her Grace Kanka Mataji has a very important announcement to make.
Hare Krishna. As I speak, we have a godbrother who's passing away. His name is Rajendra Nandana. He at one time was the president of the San Diego Temple. He has a wife named Chatura and a son named Aja. And he is approximately my age. He is passing away, but his wife called me and said that he's absolutely not in any pain, which is very surprising. But we're asking everyone to please say some prayers for him, to always remember Krishna and never forget him, and for his wife and son also. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So for the sponsors today, just like last week, we have a lot of birthdays as well. The first is, and for each birthday and sponsor, we'll call up the sponsor. So we request you to come up with your family and say a few words and request the blessings of the devotees. The first is today's Prisha's birthday. This is Sri Gopal Prabhu's colleague's daughter, and her parents' names are Harish and Preeti. Are they here by any chance? No. Sri Gopal Prabhu? They're here? Okay, so they'll come next. Next, it is our very dear Dhriti's birthday, and for all of you who might not know, her parents recently got initiated as Nitai Kirtan Prabhu and Neela Chala Chandra Mataji, and Dhriti has been born and brought up in our ISV community, so she is our very own, and please join me in celebrating her birthday. Diti, do you want to say? Let's wait for the mic. Hare Krishna. I am very grateful for all the devotees here, their association, and I'm feeling really grateful today since this temple I've been raised in has made me and brought me here today. So I'm really grateful for each and every one of your associations. So thank you, and please keep me in your prayers. Haribol. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Diti. Also, we have another child who was raised here in ISV who's steadily growing up, and is Abhay, the son of Balimardan Prabhu and Ananda Vrindavan Mataji, and it's his birthday today as well. Is Abhay here? There you go. How old are you now?
14.
14?
Yeah.
Wow. Say a few words, please.
The interview was a lot easier.
It feels a lot easier.
Thank you, everyone, for dealing with me and accepting me into your ISV community. So, thank you, everyone.
We also have the first birthday of Jagannath, who is the son of Harikatha Mataji and Shamasundar Prabhu. Okay. We also have the last sponsor today is Pooja Pandey Mataji on behalf of her nephew Arjun Shukla. I see Harikatha Mataji in the back here. Hi, well.
Hare Krishna. Please keep us in your prayers and bless Jagannath so that he can become a Vaishnava by serving the holy name and the devotees. And unknowingly we might have committed offenses. Please forgive us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That was a lot of birthdays, so collectively let's say one Mahamantra together for all of the birthdays today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we have a very special feast that has been prepared. And we'd like to hear who the cooks were for today.
Hare Krishna, today's prasadam was cooked by Ananda Mataji, Ashish Prabhu, Bhumika Mataji, Deepika Mataji, Gopi Priya Mataji, Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, Neelachala Chandra Mataji, Nidhi Mataji, Preeti Mataji, Kalyani Mataji, Shama Bhakta Prabhu, Shama Karuna Mataji, Srini Prabhu, Thadiya Seva Prabhu, and Venu Gita Mataji.
Thank you. That is an army of cooks for today's feast. We have Prisha and her parents here. Haribol. Hey Krishna, here's a little gift from us, and would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, Miss. I like very much coming here. So we started coming recently. So yeah. Yes.
Thank you for coming. Please keep coming. So next, prasadam will be served. However, now that we're gradually opening up ISV, that setup will be a little different. Since it's dark outside, we will be serving out the prasadam, and devotees are welcome to eat indoors. However, we do request that devotees sit in lines rather than circles so that we can easily accommodate the walkways through the temple room. And if possible, and you can manage, please spare a few minutes to clean so that we can easily wrap up the prasadam time before the next kirtans get started. Thank you very much. And after prasadam prayers, I believe prasadam will be served outside. Hare Krishna. Sharira Vidyaja Jodandriya Kavita Jive Pele Rishaya Sagore Karmade Jivati Lobho Hoy Sudhumati Jita Kathina Sansare Prasadam ki. Jai Gaur Premanande. Please come take prasadam.